Alright, so we're back at it again. We're going to be continuing off where we last left off, working on the ship still. We got the turret mostly where I want it. We're going to mess with the corner blast door pieces and see if I can find something that looks a little bit better than what it currently does, even if it's just rotating some of the pieces we already have. But we're going to get the look a little bit better, and then we're going to start trying to armor the rest of the ship and get it kind of looking half decent. One thing that I'm realizing now as I take this off, I don't necessarily need blast doors on the corner. Oops, I let go of the wrong button. I don't necessarily need blast doors on the corner, I don't think, because I doubt that the deformation of the block on the corner is actually going to intersect into the hinge. So maybe I can just do like heavy armor, kind of continue the angle we have right here. Oh, that might work out some. Let me place down one of these and take a look and see what I can do with this first. Yeah, that's gonna look stupid. It'll look less stupid. I don't really want that. And just a flat square. I don't think that would look too bad. Yeah, let me see here. I think on 7, yeah, 7 I have the heavy armor. So if I do, let's try something like this. That on the corner. Actually, I think I like that. Yeah. Yeah, we'll do some of these in heavy armor. And I think, yeah, let me test and see if I can break those blocks with the turret real fast. Okay, so we definitely tapped something, it sounded like. Let's check here. So those blocks probably would have broke immediately, because I didn't actually grind anything up. So it's still tapping, but it's not actually smacking it hard enough to cause any damage, it seems. So I think our angles should be good enough to continue off with actually building. So let's continue on. So I can do something kind of like that. Sort of have almost like an embrasure around it, I guess. I don't think I can connect any blocks directly to the, probably a, yeah, that would be, this, nope, this one. Okay, so I can actually connect blocks, to the head of that. Just pretty good. That means, should be able to use like some half armor pieces. So if I come over here, should be able to do something kind of like, if I can get this angled right, kind of like that, I guess, and get like a little bit of extra overhang for protection. One thing that I want to try, I think this, yeah, that's going to be too small. So I need to go back over here and then grab this. I think would be the right piece. No, actually that's not the right piece. Shoot. Yeah, I guess I can try that. And I want to see... Okay, yeah. So that's going to hit. So we can't have anything too close. That. Okay. So we can't have anything too close to that corner. So we got to be kind of careful about what blocks we choose here. Could do rounded pieces, actually, now that I'm looking at it. We do have, like these. And that might be a decent look. Let me go back over to the half blocks here. And what about something like... Okay, well that's not going to work out, I don't think. Because I can't... yeah, I can't connect that to the block underneath. Okay, so I can do it like this though. So that's kind of interesting. What I'd really like to do is just extend it out some more, but can't do anything that's gonna cover it up too much. So hard to try to angle these the correct way. Something like that might help out some. I could extend this even further. But I don't know how much protection that would actually offer. Because I can't get it too close, right? Because these ports on the side would intersect and lead to potential damage, which we don't want. Yeah, actually, I'm gonna change these out for the rounded bits, and we'll just go with that. Yeah, I think that'll be sufficient. So that was on number 8. It's where we have the rounded pieces, and we can do that right there and have that rounded off. Yeah. Yeah, I think that'll be good. I'm just kind of getting a little ways back here, and I want to see, like, from different angles, what might be missed. Like, if the rounds miss, what might get hit. So it seems like down here we want to extend the bottom armor plate. If rounds are coming here, it might come back and hit our engine, which we don't want, so we kind of want to extend it off to the side as well. So that way we can kind of get a little bit of an idea where we need to add additional armor to. So what we can do is, I don't want to overdo it with the heavy, but we definitely need some strong blocks up here. And I'm thinking we can do kind of like a little collar around it, and fill that in with like the angle bits. So something kind of like that. I think that should be sufficient. Kind of like the the mane on a lion, I guess, is sort of what it'll end up looking like. But this will give it basically just like a shielded armor plate behind the gun to protect protect some of those other components further back. So now if like rounds fly over this way and they miss, you know, more of the stuff behind the turret is going to be protected. And the front of the ship should be the closest, so the turret should be like primarily what gets targeted. And then once that's down, it'll go for anything behind that. But I think that should be a pretty good layout right there. One thing that we're probably going to want to do is grind off like this block here, and then the same on this side, so that way I can actually get to all of these blocks to build them up. Yeah, I should be able to reach everything and get all this built, but for the moment, let me dump everything and go to the unknown signal. No, let me charge my power up too, actually. Your ship's going to end up being a bit wacky looking, I think, but I'm pretty sure having all that heavy armor on the front is really going to help out with survivability. Like, even if the turret gets taken out, we should still have enough survivability to get away. One thing that I just realized is I forgot to set my timer up again, so that's kind of unfortunate. Yeah, give me a second to do that real quick. So we're at 13 minutes, so I'll set a 45-minute timer. Alright, there we go. So I want to grab all the armor plates and get probably about 200 or so metal grids going. No, we're going to need a lot more than 200. I thought I'd be able to reach that one, but I guess not. We'll grind off this, this corner piece here and get to work on that. That's going to be the first one I finish. Okay, so it looks like we're not going to have enough material to build all of these heavy armor blocks, but it'll be okay.
Energy low.
Alright. I'll load up on the middle grid and put in what I can. I'm going to start off on the edges, because the outside here is probably what's going to be first to get damaged. That and these rounded pieces. So the rounded pieces first, and then whatever I can out on the edge. Okay, well we're already out. So it looks like that's going to be all we can do as far as heavy armor is concerned. And it is nickel that we're running the shortest on here, so I'll have to keep that in mind. Aside from that, we should be okay. I don't think there's anything that we have as far as components that really have a ton of nickel on them, but we'll go for this mode signal while we can. Now, one thing that I am, I wouldn't say rich in, but that I have quite a bit of is iron and steel plate. So I still have like over 1,000 steel plate, and I have 6,000 iron. And see, to produce one steel plate only takes 7, so I can produce quite a bit of steel plate, which means I can still use blast door blocks to protect my thrusters and stuff. So that should be good. We're going to grind all the other bits of armor that we put on a couple episodes ago, and we're going to replace this with whatever we can. I'm getting a little bit impatient, to be honest, with designing the armor. I'm not super great with that. Like doing armor design is certainly not my my thing. So what we're gonna do is just slap as many blast door blocks on here as I can and try to get it covered. This here should all be connected, so I can take that back down. And I think I'll leave that up here. Because we shouldn't really be taking too much fire in this section. Because I think the next thing that would aim for after taking a turret down would be the thrusters. So the main thing we'd want to put blast door blocks around is all of this. Let's see. Yeah, we took that down over there, so we'll do the same over here. Leave that armor block there, that should be fine. Take this off.
Inventory full.
Let me clear my inventory. So what I'm thinking, since we have a cargo container right there, I'm thinking we can actually cover this, like all of these up completely, and it should be perfectly fine. So what I want to do now is just coat this thing in as much blast door blocks as I can. So we're going to do basically like this all the way down, and yeah, it's going to leave a little bit of gap in it where some other weapons fire could get in there to break some of that. But for the most part, it should be pretty well protected doing something kind of like this here. I'll just cover up everything that I can. Sort of like that. And probably we can do, I guess vertically like this would be okay. We can do like that. So that way it still keeps connections for the most part, and then any armor we bring back we can connect off of there. And this thing is going to be very heavy and very slow. Just based off of all this blast door I'm putting on here. Let's see. Can't connect that there, but I can do... Well, I want a piece here as well. And we can do... Yeah, like that there. And we'll bring it
Energy low.
this way around, maybe. Actually, yeah, we'll change that to be like that. That'll give us a little bit of protection on the side for the thruster behind it. And then we'll do kind of similar on the top, but with one of these. That. I'm out of steel plate already. So let's grab some steel plate and then charge up. Once all of this is done, it's going to be a veritable tank, essentially. So, shouldn't have much to worry about as far as like taking damage. The internal should stay fairly safe. I have very little doubt that we're going to run into a lot of issue with components being broken. Because like, this is a ton of armor I'm slapping down on here. But I'm getting a little bit frustrated with how long it's actually taken. So I just sort of want to get this over with as quick as I can, even at the risk of having a very, very ugly ship, which this very much will be. So, let's see, actually, yeah, we can extend this back further to cover up that. And that should be okay. And we want to do kind of similar over here, and extend this back further to cover up that, about the same degree. Cut that back one. No, it kind of needs that, I guess. So we'll put that back on both sides. So that way that's kind of protected up pretty good. And then, so do I want to stick it out further on this side? Probably. So I could do... No, okay, I can't connect that there. That's fine, I guess. So don't have anything on the side here yet. It's probably... I'm thinking we could actually go kind of light right here. On the inside portion. The main thing that I want to do is just make sure that what I cover up is going to have blast door on the outside. Actually, never mind on that, because if explosion damage goes through here, those could deform and cause damage. So, yeah, I think we kind of need that on that side there to protect this ion thruster, and then we'll just leave this one exposed as far as the end bit goes. It's going to be recessed in here. And what we'll do for this is rotate this around like so. And we'll do a piece like that, and then we'll do one of these, but rotated like that. And that'll protect that side. And we can do the same right here. And this is going to cost me a lot of steel plate. In fact, I'm not 100% sure I'll have enough iron to cover all of this. So we might need to leave it kind of patchy and go out and grab some more material if we can come across something to pirate. I think that should be good there. And then right here we can continue this down with like that. And then yeah, that should be okay for the most part. Then I'm thinking for the back here, we can do that and like that. And then take some of these and bring around like this. Kind of armor that up some. And then the top is going to be extremely heavy. But I'll be okay with that. For the top, can I not do... Okay, so I could do like layers going across, and just the actual blast orb block. I think that would look decent enough. So there's going to be like gaps right in between, but it's going to have to be so precise of a hit that I don't think it'll really matter. Explosion damage, I think, could probably get through that, but it's going to be limited, I believe. So I think that should be okay there. And then for these, I want to rotate like that. So that way I can get some shape in here like this. Kind of cover that up from the top. So I mean, it's very patchy armor. It's not gonna be super efficient, but it should provide enough coverage. In fact, we can actually extend this out some. I think that'll be okay. And do something similar over here, which is like, how did I end that? I didn't end it. Okay. So let's do that right there, just on the corner. Something like that. Not like a brick, but a very well armored brick. There we go. That'll work. I want to extend that one more, I guess. Just make sure the side's covered good. So I want this piece rotated like that. And then we want that piece there. That'll be okay. Then we want to do the same over here. That's just to ensure that internal thruster is a little better covered. That's facing up, yeah. So there we go. From the side, that our rearward thrusters are still kind of exposed a bit, but there's not a lot I can do about that right there. I can do here as just sort of a wall on that. And then so the heavy plate that I have here, I think I'll change that for blast door as well. Yeah, because this component here might get targeted around computer.
Inventory full.
Not computer, but
Inventory full.
Let me throw this down. And we got a holder over there. I don't know if that has weapons on it. Probably so. That probably will call drones in on us, because I'm extremely unlucky like that. We'll take that down. Take that down. Dump that in there. And for the armor on this, what I want to do is probably like that, so it's actually connected to the block and not sideways, because it won't connect sideways. Let me grab armor plate. And I can already tell I'm going to need a lot of armor, or a lot of steel plate. I could do kind of like this. I think that would work decently well, but it doesn't cover the full block. Whereas that kind of covers more of the block, and it would be a little bit spaced in between, which, as we all should know, spaced armor is pretty good for explosion damage. So I think that'll be okay. Looking at how I've done this now, I probably could have just gone with Blastor all the way up here. This is going to be an extremely heavy ship. It'll be
Energy
very, very
low.
slow. If the computer would stop talking over me, Jesus. It's going to be very slow. It's going to be basically a veritable tank, though. So we shouldn't have much issue with our thrusters going out unless it gets hit directly or with a lot of missiles. So now we're charged up there. Let's pop up the top, and I want to take a look at this holder here and see what we're working with. We got a Gatling on the top there. I'm not seeing anything too bad other than that. I don't know if it's going to call in reinforcement though. But I do want to, I want to dump all of the materials I'm carrying and hit up that unknown signal. I'll wait until I get to the signal to look in, because I'm moving too much, and the binoculars are already kind of shaky by default. So I'm not going to be able to get a good look if I'm flying horizontally to it. So I'll come over here and stop, and then I'll take a look. Looks like only one Gatling on the top there. I can probably take that. It's just if it calls in more drones to help would be a problem. As soon as we get back, I'm going to start putting a couple thousand steel plates on production. So that way we get some coming in, because we're going to need a lot of them very shortly. Probably in the figure of around 10,000 or so. So from here, I want to do mainly the ones that are actually going to matter a ton, which is going to be like in front of these ion thrusters on the sides. Yeah, we're burning through these way faster than we can make them, so it's about to slow down a lot on the progress we can make welding this thing up. Yeah, production is going to be extremely slow. Also, that hole is getting kind of close. I don't think it's going to do like a proper flyby. I don't think it'll get too close, but it's getting there. But we might could actually take that. I don't know about like right now, but we might be able to try. Let's see. We only have 2 artillery shells. So I guess the question is, do we want to risk it being shot by the turret controller, or do we want to actually take those shots ourselves? I could also move an actual turret over, I guess. Would be the best place for that. I don't want to do directly on the side there, because we all know how that turned out the last time. I could grind this off into a connector.
Energy
and put the
low.
Gatling up on top here. So let's see here. Oh, it despawned. Okay. Well, I guess we missed out on the opportunity for that. I was going to try to get this radied up as quick as I could to go for it, but I guess that's not going to happen. I think a Gatling kind of peeking off the side, or maybe the top, it's still a good idea though. So we'll probably still go ahead with that. I'm going to take these lighter armor pieces off for right now. And we'll get a Gatling turret set up over there. Should still have components to make another one.
Energy critical.
That's weird. It actually places in the way you're facing it this time around. Normally it's like on a 90-degree offset, so I guess they fixed that. I didn't see an update though. Yeah, it should be fine. And then we'll do light armor. So that's heavy. Light armor, protecting around here, I guess. Survival kit's probably important enough to warrant a blast door, though. We'll just do something like that to protect that up. We'll keep the same idea that we already had over here, though, and probably do blast doors along the top. Let's see. I should probably connect these up rigidly before I delete that triangle piece. So let's do light armor blocks there to connect that, and then take this out. And then we can do a heavy armor, or a blast door, I mean, right here. And rotate it that way. So that way that's rigidly connected to another blast door block. And then I should be able to grind that off and do blast doors on the top, which is number 8. Oops. Didn't mean to put this one down. But we'll do like that, just to really try to protect that controller. And I think everything else should be fine. Let's take a look at the production. Let's see, are we still making plates? No, but we did make quite a few of them. More than I was anticipating being able to produce. We'll dump everything I don't need for the moment. Dump the empty bottle. That one's almost empty. We'll go ahead and dump it. We still got 2 full bottles. That should be fine. Now we want to grab as much steel plate as I can. So let's see here. Oh yeah, we're going to need a lot more. So we're going to need to go over here to disassembly and start breaking down components that have iron. Basically just anything and everything that we have that has iron. We're going to go ahead and break all that down. And that way we can try to get the steel plate we need to finish up some of the armor here, and hopefully be able to get out there, actually try it out some. Still going to mainly focus on the blocks that actually matter a ton. So that would be like that one protecting that thruster, and then this one here that would block fire directly to the oxygen, unless it's whatever's firing at us is directly above. The batteries are kind of important, but I don't think both of them will get destroyed, hopefully, if we run into a real bad situation. This armor block here, and then the one on the opposite side, will be really important to protect the back thrusters. We'll grab that and see if maybe I missed some plate in here somewhere. No, I did not. Okay. So let's see how far we are on the disassembly. Yeah, so we only have about 800 left. We're going to need to build a lot more. Like a whole lot more. So that's pretty good for right now. The next blocks we need are these two to help protect the survival kit. And we're going to want these three right here are going to be most important. Not necessarily directly on it, but we're anticipating taking fire from more so in front than anything. So that should be okay. Again, this turret should be targeted first, and then it'll go to this Gatling probably, and then hopefully components behind the shield here, and not stuff directly behind here. But we're going to try our best to not even let anything hit us from any other angle than from the front and slightly above, maybe. But I'm not going to be able to make all of these blocks right now, I don't think. We got a lot of iron rolling in, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Let's grab this unknown signal while we wait. And I want to make it very clear what I am doing with all of these blast door blocks. You normally do not want to do that at all. It is way overkill, and it will be very, very heavy. Like, we're going to be moving extremely slowly, we're going to be stopping extremely slowly. But, as long as we're careful, which I think I'm not going to be, probably. I'll probably fuck it up pretty badly. We're still going to go along with it, but as long as we try to be careful and keep the ship outside of, like, really close range firefights, we should be, hopefully, should be okay. Once the main cannon goes down, though, like the assault cannon, once that goes down, it's going to get way more dangerous to move in closer to let the Gatling take over. Because the Gatling's going to be kind of far back compared to, like, the armor and stuff. So once we get within range of our gun, our armor is already going to have been in range of whatever guns we're trying to take out.
Energy low.
So it's going to be very, very dangerous once we run out of ammo, which we only have 2 rounds, keep in mind. So we're going to have to be extremely careful trying to take up stuff until we get more ammo going. Once we get some ammo and everything, this should be, hopefully, like a really, really great ship for like taking out dangerous wrecks. But until we get enough components, we're going to be pretty bad off. kind of annoying that you have to babysit disassembly. Yeah, we got a lot of these interior plates. So we're just gonna break down a lot of this stuff to try to get the iron that we need to manufacture more steel plate. I do have some scrap metal, but it's not going to convert into a lot of iron, so we're not going to worry too much about that. We're going to focus mainly on breaking down a lot of these other components. In fact, actually, let me see. What does it take to make... oh, that's my alarm going off. So unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get through this in this episode. We do need uranium to make our artillery shells. We need 0.03 grams. How much uranium do I have, if any? We lost our uranium, apparently. Because I know I had some, but I know we lost that one cargo container as well a few episodes back, and I think that had our uranium in it. So that definitely sucks. We're kind of SOL. So we just have 2 rounds and that's it. Certainly not ideal. We're pretty much out of time, but I think, honestly, I'm going to keep going with this. Let me see what time it is. Yeah, it's 11. So I'm going to keep going with this episode. This one's going to be kind of long, but it's going to be boring. I'll put a, in brackets, I'll put, that it's just, getting the ship as close to done as we can. Or something like that, some bullshit up there. Maybe in the description I'll explain a little bit as to why this is going to be a long episode. But, like I said, I don't want to do anything off camera at all. And I want to get this done today, because I want to actually get out there and start doing some stuff. Because I feel like this is kind of boring, honestly, to me. And I want to get out there and do some exciting shit. So, we're gonna try to do that to the best of my ability. But we gotta get through this bullshit first. And in fact, I'm gonna stop talking. I said I was earlier, but I'm actually gonna stop talking now. And, I'll just, keep doing this, and we'll see how far we can get before I end the recording. Okay, so one thing that I'm noticing now is our ship is actually very weak in the midsection here. Like if one of these two blocks gets broken, I think it'll break in half because I'm not sure that these actually connect to the side of the ion thruster right there. If that's a rigid connection, we should be okay. But if that's not, like if it's not actually connected between the blast door and the front edge of the ion thruster, then our ship is extremely fragile in the midsection there. Like it could get blown into two pieces, which is not good. So I'm going to fix that with like some rigid light armor blocks just for connection purpose. I think the corner of the connector is actually intersecting with the round blocks. It's not letting me move it the way that I would want to. So I think like these corners here are actually touching right there. And that's why it's not letting me rotate it all the way around. I might need to change the block that I use here. I could tighten that angle up more though. I could go 15 for both up and down, maybe. Or well, I thought I already did though. Let me double check on that. That was interesting. I just kind of snapped it back to the middle. Let's double check and make sure we didn't damage anything doing that. I think that one block was already missing some grid. It looks like everything here is fine. That range is still good, yep. So we just need to keep in mind that this one is already at 87%. Yeah, our upward angle is still catching, so we're going to drop that to, I guess, 12 and see what that looks like. And the upward was the -1, I believe. So we're going to change this to 12. Yeah, that's fine. That's not actually getting caught on anything. See, I can do like a full circle and it's not pushing the turret back forward. And then the bottom should be fine too. Well, actually right there. No, I think that's fine as well. Okay. Yeah, we should be good. So now, the turret can rotate in a full 360 degrees, but still has a limit for elevation to limit the chance that it'll smack into the protection around the base of it. I think that'll work out decently well. I would like to still have a limit on the rotation, but if I do that, then kind of like the cone of angle of it is going to be kind of weird. I'd prefer it to just be like just a regular full cone shape that it can aim in, because otherwise it would only have like a little bit on the bottom and top. It would be kind of like an hourglass shape sort of cone of angle of attack for the turret or whatever. However you would want to describe that, but what I'm talking about is like the arc kind of going out. Like, you know how when you see the cone of spread in video games for like guns and stuff, where it gives you that kind of like the overlay of like all the potential areas where the bullet could go when you aim, and that cone kind of starts off really tight, and then as you go out it spreads out. That's kind of what I'm talking about with this here. I want that to have just a perfect cone rather than having kind of like dead zones in it, where like it can only aim angled at a certain angle, right? So like if the top is limited to 15 degrees, then like if you were right here, for instance, it wouldn't be able to shoot you, but if you were at the same angle on the bottom, then it would. And I kind of want that to not have any dead zones in it. I want it to be like a perfect cone where, you know, it's just fewer dead zones and potentially less headache trying to get it to aim right. Oh, okay, you can actually look all the way down the barrel. It's just a cylinder. Doesn't have any cool design hidden in there. Unfortunate. Anyway, let's get it back over here and do some more work on this, because that's done. Just gonna disassemble everything that I can, I guess, and see how much iron we get and how far that gets us on the ship. Because, I mean, even if I don't have components to repair the ship, that'll be fine. We just need it to be functional enough to get more materials, is the thing. And those of you who've seen in the previous episodes where I've left steel plate from these unknown signals, I still stand by that. Even though I'm having a shortage of steel plate, it's not worth the time, in my opinion, to grind down all of the steel plate. Sometimes I do it just out of like habit of just wanting to have everything cleared off. But for the most part, in my opinion, it's not really worth it actually to get all of that. Just because I think it's so much grinding to have to do to get everything off of it that I think it outweighs the benefit is the time draw. So. I almost fucked that up. I was about to leave or grind the button all the way down again. Luckily, if you fix the button before taking it all the way off, it does still work. But yeah, I almost fucked that up again. That certainly wouldn't be the first time, but I'm glad I was able to save that. Also, the skybox is really growing on me. Like, the quality of it, pretty nice. I don't necessarily like the design itself all that much. I kind of like some of the other skyboxes we've tried. I kind of like the designs of those a little bit more. But just the quality of this one is so high. It's pretty good in my opinion. just doing that so we can give a little bit of a more rigid connection between the front and the back half. And I doubt I'll have all the plate for this, but we'll build this up before we do anything else. Just that way maybe there's less of a chance of the ship getting cut in half. The only other thing I can think of that the ship still needs is a landing gear. I should be able to place it on one of these armor blocks here. But I can put it kind of like, I guess right here would be okay. Just off of that. And that way we can still bring stuff, like chunks, back if we need. Because we're not really going to be able to weld much to this ship now. Because all these armor blocks, I mean, it's still possible. Like, you can weld stuff here, I guess. But, like, huge chunks, not so much. There's another holder up here. In fact, that might be the same one. Still got just the one Gatling on it. I would like to get that if I could, but I don't want to go for it quite yet. Like, the chances that that holder has some really good materials on it is quite high. But it's going to want to run when we take the guns off. And with our acceleration, it's going to be really slow. I don't think we would ever have a chance to keep up. Plus, if that hits 100 meters per second before we do, we can never catch up. In fact, if it hits the speed limit, and we're not right on it already, like already about to connect to it, there's no way we can catch up to it, because we can't go past the speed limit. So we would be moving at the same velocity at the same time, and we'd never be able to catch up to it. We could probably, if we were within range of the Gatling, we could switch that over to do thrust, and maybe that would have enough ammo to take the thrusters out, and it would eventually slow down. But I think we'd be better off just going for something that's already stationary. But we got a decent amount of breathable oxygen, I guess. And we got a way to keep generating that breathable oxygen. We got a way to generate power. And that's really all we need. We have a survival kit on here. It would be ideal to get a second survival kit to have like on these hideouts, which we're going to eventually make more of these when we have the material to do so. But for right now, we only have the one survival kit, and I would rather have that be on the ship because that's going to be mobile. Whereas the base is not going to be mobile. It's rigidly attached to the asteroid as a static grid. But the ship is going to be mobile. So we want a way to get back to the ship if we need. And having a survival kit on it is definitely the way to do that. Now let's see, how much iron do we actually have? We only had a couple thousand from that, so we're not going to be able to make nowhere near enough to finish finish everything we've done to this, but we should have enough steel plate now to be able to do the light armor blocks and get those done. But just looking at the steel plate count in the light armor versus the blast doors, like you can tell there's a pretty good difference in how much material goes into it. A little over 10 times more. Or not 10 times. Shit. A little over 4 times as much, I mean. Which means that these here should be roughly around about 4 times more durable than the light armor. So it can take roughly about 4 times more damage before it breaks and is destroyed. I mean, those numbers probably don't work out exactly like that, but from what I understand of the game, the health of each block is determined by the component count. So things that have like a ton of components are going to have more durability. Like, say, these gyros, for instance. These gyros have a huge amount of steel plate in them, and actually that one's missing one. They have a huge amount of steel plate, which is why they're so durable compared to everything else, right? And in fact, actually, like most of the time, when you have like really large ships and stuff, if you take a railgun shot through your gyro room, or wherever it is you have the gyros stored, most of the time, the gyros themselves will survive. All of the blocks they are connected to will get destroyed, and then you'll just have a bunch of gyros floating around in your ship. It's certainly not a ideal situation to be in, but that does happen more often than not. We're going to go ahead and start working on these as well. And now I'm going to hit up that unknown signal and pray for some more iron resource. Be it raw iron, iron ingots, it does not matter to me. I just need more iron, please.
Energy low.
Not what I wanted, but I'll take that magnesium. That's useful for more ammo.
Energy critical.
Alright, I think the rest of that can just stay floating. We need to get back to the base ASAP. Ooh, just in time. I had 1% power left in my suit. Alright. So the reason I did that is because, as far as I'm aware, if you just place a block down and not weld the single component in it, it's going to be slightly more fragile than if you just weld it after placing a single component in. It doesn't make much of a difference, but if we get hit by a rocket, I want to try to increase the chances of some of these staying where I placed them originally. Hopefully that's not going to happen. Like we're not going to get hit by a rocket, hopefully. But you never know. And I'm going to try to get as many of these plates as I can out of this before we end this video. And then in the next one, wherever the ship is left off at, we're going to go ahead and take it out. And we're going to try to come across some sort of wreck, because we need the components. We're getting to that point now where, like, we're doing as much as we can, and it's not a lot. Yeah, I think that's about as good as it'll get. So we got 2 guns. We got 2 shells for the artillery. We got a decent-ish amount of ammo left for the Gatling. And the front of the ship's armor is nearly partially done. It should be good enough to take some light machine gun fire, hopefully without too much critical damage. I am fully expecting this turret to be disabled fairly quickly in direct fire. This one here, it shouldn't burn like it was before. In fact, actually, I don't think anything now should be burning. Well, never mind. Actually, that might burn. And that might burn, now that I think about it. So we might need to rethink the armor there. Not sure that I know the flat armor was fine for the basic respawn pod, because that's how they had it. They had flat armor pressed up against those blocks, so that should be fine. I don't know about the full blocks. I know it was well, I suspect, as well as a commenter was suspecting that the thruster was damaging the Gatling when it was there. That could be due to the Gatling's hitbox, or it could be due to it just being too close. But we'll find that out eventually, I guess. I'm gonna grindstone.
Energy low.
So I'm thinking we're probably gonna have to travel quite a long ways and for quite a long amount of time before we can get a signal to pop in. And I'm praying that when we do go out to grab some resources, that we're going to get lucky enough to find something easy to disable with a decent amount of resource pretty early on. But the likelihood of that is relatively low. So I guess all we can do is hope. That's odd. The oxygen tank should be oh, did I turn the oxygen tank off? Is that what that was? Oh, that is not as much oxygen as I thought it was, I guess. Um, yeah, that's not that much oxygen, really. So the oxygen farm might not be the best way to go about things. We do have the H2O2 generator on the base, though, so we can do that, turn that on. And that should fill up all the bottles. Yeah. And we don't need to run that for very long. That's not going to net us a whole lot, but it's better than nothing. We're going to leave it like this. If this block gets burnt off, or this one over here, if that gets burnt off, then we'll know we can't go with that. I'm not sure what the distance is on, like how far you can have stuff out in front. I think it might be 3 blocks. So this one might be safe. We'll have to wait and see. But I think the next block that we start working on should probably be this one right here, protecting these 2 thrusters. So we'll put what we can in there, and that's pretty much all we can do. So we'll just run on hope and prayers. We got some ammo. Take this oxygen bottle back over to the other base and charge it up. What happened to our other artillery shell? I know we had 2. Okay, well that's kind of frustrating. Guess that'll be fine though, whatever. Just fill up this bottle. And we'll take this ice and put on the ship over here so we can fill stuff up with that. So we only have 1 artillery shell now, so that's unfortunate. I don't know what happened to the other one. I'm pretty certain I didn't fire the turret. So I don't know what could have happened to that shell, which is very frustrating. I don't know. Maybe it's just a graphical bug and there really is two in there, but my hopes aren't high. Yeah, that's pretty disheartening though that one of our shells disappeared. Um, that had all of our uranium in those two shells, so we lost half of our uranium. So that's kind of annoying. Got some more parts though, so we'll dump this in here. Yep, that's going to be it. We can't do anything else with that. I mean, we could tear some stuff down off the base, but right now, this is a fully functional hideout, aside from not having a respawn on it. But I don't want to make any more unnecessary changes to that. Now, what I do want to do is set up the controls that I actually want to use. So that would be like on and off for this. We would then do weapons, potion, and or actually, you know what? I can probably group those together. So let me remove these. I think I can group the weapons together. G. Okay. Now we want the Gatling and the custom, and we'll do this as turrets. Then come over here. I should have group turrets. Oh, okay. G. Nope. Okay. Turrets. It has the helm selected, so we want to do We want to do that and have turrets there without the helm on it. Now I think we can, yeah. So now we can do on-off weapons, propulsion, power, and then so we don't want to target, or I mean manually control the Gatling, but we do want to do manual control over that if possible, like whenever we can. Want all of them to be targeting weapons. We have one off and one on. So let's see here. Custom turret controller, turn that off. Gatling off. The artillery cannon, we can turn that on. Shots until reload, one loaded, one in mags. Okay. So we do have 2 rounds. That's good. Everything else should be fine. Keep that off until we need it. Survival kit's on. Needs to stay on. Rest of these should be fine. The assembler's off. Okay, so that should be all good. And I think that's everything we need. The landing gear we can put on there from scrap that we gather. I want to double check the settings for the custom turret control. Right. We want AI on, and the block is off. So now when we turn that on, it should turn on the AI. We want to target enemies, neutrals, stations. Okay. And we're aiming for weapons. The radius is 800 meters, but as soon as we do an actual lock, it should counter that regardless. We have all the movement set up properly. Aiming radius, increase that here. We have that on. We want to do neutrals, locking target weapons. Okay. So that should be fine. We got our weapons set up properly. What I want to do is turn on the thrust, turn on the gyro. Batteries are already on. We have 8 days until depleted, supposedly. We're going to switch this grid into a ship. And this is where we're going to leave off. So I'm going to go ahead and exit out of here. We're going to make a save. And then we're going to exit the menu, make a save. And in the next episode, when we come back, we're going to take this ship out. And we're going to go as far as we can and pray to come across a decent salvageable wreck pretty early on, and we'll see how it goes. Right now, as far as our little pirate's life is concerned, we have nothing. We're basically living by a string right now. Like if any one of these random encounters decides to come by a little too close, that could be it. So we're very delicate. We don't have a lot of defense to defend ourselves or anything like that. Our ship is arguably worse right now than it was before we started modifying it. But if we can get the materials to finish off these blocks, then our ship should be overall a lot more resilient. But in its current state, not so much. So our next salvage operation is going to be a very delicate procedure. We're going to have to be extremely careful with what we choose to go for, and we're going to have to hope that luck is going to be on our side, and that we find something easy enough to get, and that it's not going to completely ruin the playthrough. So, anyway, let me go ahead and stop the recording, and I'll see you guys in the next one. This one's 2 hours long, but we did as much as we possibly could for the ship, just to cut down on how many episodes we're messing with the ship. And when I upload this, I'll put in like the description, like why it's so long and everything. But yep. Until the next recording. Bye.